Hi Gemini, welcome to May 2020. In part 1 of the video, I gave an overview of May, the lay of the land, and in this video we're going to go deeper into what May is good for you in terms of initiating something, what you might be wrapping up, and we're going to talk about an important aspect, which is Saturn square Uranus, which colors the whole of 2021, but we are receiving a preview of that in this month. We're going to also talk about the cosmic smile, which is a few of good dates that we are getting in the month of May between 15 to 17. We want to see what it is good for personally, at personal level, what can we achieve, what can we go to in that aspect. Gemini, normally right before your season will start on 20th of May. Right before your season is a good time to release, to relax, to take it easy, to ease with natural things, with nature, with walks, with massages, with fine wine. It's the time to just settle in and enjoy the five senses. Right before your season, you normally prepare for your season by calming yourself down, to ease yourself into it, getting good sleep. It's sort of the time when we are told to work behind the scene. We are told to sort of take a back seat even from visibility. And from 22nd of April, when we had a new moon in this house for you, you might have experienced that you need some sort of easing in of mind, maybe of faith, maybe a spiritual practice, something to ease your mind, because what's happening since 2018, and more importantly from last year, is that now Uranus is in your house of rest, relaxation, faith. When this happens, Uranus is lightning bolt, it's high vibration. It tends to detach us from the old cycle. So many of you might have ended your past life or your past incarnation to some extent to move into a new state of being, but many of you are in process of doing that. When we are in that kind of a phase, it's a very jittery feeling, because we are walking through the unknown over there. So the sleep becomes restless when that happens. So having Uranus in your house of rest and relaxation makes Taurus season very different for you. Normally this is the time when you'll be taking it easy, you'll be sort of maybe even planning to travel or something, and it's not just because of the current situation globally that we are in. Even if you were not in that situation, you have this wired energy which gets extra wired during Taurus season because of Uranus impact becoming dominant this time. What's happening is that we are being detached from an old way of being, from a past life and past karma, into a new way of being. And whenever we sort of go into a state of relaxation, it almost feels that we are regressing into that past life. So restlessness builds up, and it's sort of a go energy. Even in your sleep, you're like, I'm missing something, I need to be doing something, I need to be executing something right now. And your imagination is like really pumped up. So it could be that even in your dreams, even in your sleep, you're getting ideas about money, about financial things, about what you can create. You might be even having some sort of financial worry at this time. Taurus is a sign of money, of financial. And Uranus is suddenly creates a situation in which you might be worried about your financials. Certain neglected financial issues can also come back. Certain obligations which are financial in nature can also come up, and they can cause a little bit of worry in our mind at this time. So when this happens, we start feeling the need to have a core, a stable spiritual core, a isolation, a sleep, a rest. We crave that deep sleep to some extent, or a state of being almost blank in isolation, or just crave to have a quiet mind for a minute, because we need to heal to be able to move forward in the fashion. But what's happening is that the same Uranus, which is causing the sleeplessness, this vibration, is the higher octave of your state of being. It is showing you a very different way of being. It is showing you a way to be beyond this worry. It is like, it's sort of like when you're shaken up, right? I compare it sometimes, maybe it's not a good analogy, but like it's like when you take your bedding out in the sun and you just hit it with a bat or something to take the things out. The old things are getting just shaken out of you. It's like almost as somebody is like telling you it's done, it's over, the old karma is done, the old way of being is done. So in this uncertainty, and we feel this high vibration that something big is about to happen, in that Taurus season requires you to create a stable core. It requires you to have a spiritual practice. It prompts you almost to create a spiritual work or a psychological work practice that will support you through the volatility that your life is about to get into, because we will have North Node for the next 18 months in your sign. When North Node is in our sign, it's the time to walk your destiny. We are prompted to walk on a path that is a karmic path, that is a fated path. We are here to create something, and we start executing that through sudden fated shifts to sort of stand on our 2 feet, to move away from any dependencies on others that we have. We start creating our own destiny there. Now, with all of that happening, there are two things that will serve you well. Have a good place for you to go to when something like this is happening. It could be just just healing practice. It could be acupuncture. It could be maybe you need a past life regression. If you believe in that, it's like a purge that is required. It is like a pain of the past, a fear of the past almost needs to be physically extracted out of our body, which is stored in our psyche, for us to feel lighter of the tension, of the symptoms, and to feel this sense of renewal. And Uranus is like sudden lightning bolt, and you can suddenly heal. You can suddenly, and you'll feel that during the day. You suddenly feel confident about going for it, and then you suddenly feel fear. So we are swinging between these two extremes because we are moving towards the unknown, and the journey has just begun. So there needs to be either a alternative healing method, or it could be a psychological way of handling it. You need to find the stable core that you go to that helps you hold still in this volatility and this moment of silence. It could be yoga, it could be a spiritual practice, it could be just finding your way in the nature, having a nature walk 1 hour a day, sleeping well by taking magnesium. By you have to speak to your doctor before doing that, but magnesium helps enormously in this state of mind. There is a need to extract the fear out of it, and some of it could be just by talking about it, by expressing it, by creatively expressing it, by creating ideas out of those fears in some way. Sometimes it's like when you're nervous about your finances. Sometimes when you're nervous about your finances, the insights that you get are something that you would normally not get. So this is the insights and knowledge which is untapped, which through pressure, through sudden lightning bolt is being pushed out of you. So even in your sleep, in a moment of silence, in a yoga practice, in a spiritual practice, in a psychological analysis, suddenly insights that you did not have before, they come to you. Uranus is not like Saturn, that you're working for 2.5 years and then later by your own effort things get created. Uranus acts on a psychological basis. So you have to give it place to play out. You have to give the right environment for it to play out. So give yourself a yoga practice, of 5 minutes of silence or something. Just you want to be not driven by your own fear here. You want to be driven by your own insights and knowledge here. So a cleanup is required, a purge is required, and you need this period of isolation. I know Geminis are the first one who are jittery in this period because you're a social sign. You like to be out and about. You want to be walking outside. You want to be meeting people. You want to be mingling with people. Gemini has Venus in their sign for 4 months. Venus is all about relationships. They want to go and influence people with their new brilliant ideas. But this moment of silence, especially till 20th of May, I would take it because it's going to shift things for you enormously before you start your season, before you get there. And in this period, create a health practice, create a healing practice for yourself. Especially we have a full moon that is coming on 7th of May. It's a beautiful full moon. It's a full moon in your house of health. So it's possible that you might start paying more attention to your health when this happens. In fact, most of the time when we have a full moon in our house of health, something comes to information, either a information comes in or you just get a feeling within yourself that I need to really take care of things here. And Scorpio full moon is not like I'll start running 2 kilometers every day. Maybe you could. It's Mars driven. You could do it through it. Scorpio full moon is about I need to emotionally heal. I need to emotionally be more fit, and that will help my health a lot more. If there is something that I am not doing to myself, then that would create a better health for me. Scorpio full moon is also about cleansing. It's about colon cleansing, the purification of the body. So through diet, cleaning your system, like a liver cleanse to some extent, or a elimination, a purge of sort, which needs to be done. And that completely shifts how you feel emotionally. There's an emotional release that happens because of cleaning the gut. I'm just being open about it to you, but it that's what it forms when a full moon happens in Scorpio. It's about purging your system of toxins, and that just gives you clarity of mind. It gives you emotional stability when you do that. This is also a full moon which is happening on 7th of May, which will influence you at least for 2 weeks after 7th of May. It's a point of release. It's a point of will of God. This is your house of work and health. Wherever Scorpio is, we tend to control that very well. We like to have control over that part of our life. And in the house of work and your work environment, possibly you like to control your work really well. You want to know where it's going. You like to know where it's going, and it helps you if you know where you're going when it comes to your work project. If the timeline of a work project is known to you, if your daily chores, they're sort of, this is the time I'll be doing this, and then next hour I'll be doing that. If you know the schedule of the day, you function better in that fashion. Scorpio full moon in positive aspect with Neptune at the point of release says that you have to let a few things be left to God or higher powers. It's a point where we suddenly let go. Something comes up, something will come up. It could be a health thing, it could be a work project that comes, you have to sort of deliver on. But by your own sheer will, you will feel at that time you alone cannot do that. You need a higher faith to be able to execute it. And it's a very soothing full moon, which sort of gives you just we enter that phase of moksha to some extent. Like, you enter that state in which you truly believe your own destiny. You truly believe that you're walking your destiny. You truly believe that the thing you're doing right now is what you were meant to do. It gives you that messaging if you listen to yourself. And it's not about logic. It's not about somebody telling you. It's about you listening to yourself. And that supports you. As long as you don't try to control the outcome of that project, you will achieve what you truly set out to do. You'll have to release a little bit of control over the outcome of whatever project is coming for completion, which will come after 7th of May. Something related to health comes up. It's a very positive full moon. I don't believe it will be a health issue, but there might be more focus that could come on your health. Even if it's a health issue, having faith that going easy on yourself, believing in something bigger than yourself, keeping your body cleansed. There's a cleansing of the mind and the cleansing of the body. Just easing into it will help you. Acupuncture could help you, aromatherapy, things that make us easy, that untie the knot within our mind and our body. They will help you let loose, let go. And that's the time when you will have the best work performed. And that comes with the cosmic smile that follows right after that. On 9th or 10th of May, we have Mercury, your ruler, meeting Pluto and Jupiter. This is positive conversation, positive healing. It could be just that through some emotional up and down during the full moon of 7th of May, you will feel that on 6th, 7th, 8th of May, suddenly 9th and 10th of May, you feel better about things. There's something that has exited you, something that has been detoxed out of you. There could be an angst that is just released. There could be a worry that is just released. There could be a stress about a job or a project, or just this inherent shakiness about things. It's just suddenly released, and a very positive conversation could happen on 9th or 10th of May. But again, Mercury is still behind the scene. This is not about making a presentation in front of an audience on 9th and 10th of May. This is about you doing things behind the scene, getting the faith to go and face everybody during your season after 20th of May. This is you preparing things behind the scene. And Jupiter is in your house of joint finances. It's very much possible that this is related to your relationships with others. It could be a sponsorship that you've been waiting for, and you sort of have been maybe not sure about asking for it in the right way, or things have not moved over there. Then the second aspect between 15th to 17th of May is when Sun meets Jupiter and Pluto. And this affects that sponsorship, that financial aspect of things. It could be investment you have made. This is money made not from salary. This is money made from others. It could be a loan coming in. It could be a sponsorship. It could be money from royalty. It could be money from stock markets. It could be money from something that you've invested in and that is supposed to come through and it has not come through, and you've been working on it. You've been trying to get, powerful in your interaction with others to get the requisite support for what you've been doing. And some positive news in that direction could come between 15th to 17th of May. This is especially true if you have planets around 25 to 27 degree of Gemini. 25 to 27 degree of Gemini might be actually working on some sort of sponsorship. This is around 18th of June born. But it holds for all of you. This is the time when something is given to us. When Jupiter is about to go retrograde, in that area of our life, something is given to us. But it doesn't mean that that's the final outcome. Jupiter is going to go retrograde. It will move backward from where it comes. So it gives something. It gives an opportunity of expansion. It gives an opportunity of expansion financially, a support of an influential person in hierarchy. It could be through a partner. It could be a strategic support you get from somebody. It could be financial help that you've been looking for, that you go and get it. It could be even in your personal life that you get emotional support from somebody that you've been looking to get, but it supports you both physically and emotionally, this aspect. But what happens is that when Jupiter turns retrograde, means that it appears to go back from where it came. That opportunity is walked back on. Doesn't mean that it's withdrawn. It means that it needs to be embellished. It needs to be added on. The external support for the next couple of months on that opportunity will be muted. You would be required to work on it yourself for the next couple of months. So from the time mid of May when Jupiter goes retrograde all the way till September, you would be working on that without knowing if you have 100% support of the other person. without knowing whether you know that on surface they have said yes, but one possibility is not getting the contract for it, for example, and the contract only comes after September. And from May, from 14th of May to 12th of September to be exact, that's the time when you'll be adding value to it. Similarly, on if it's investment, it's a royalty, it's a stock market output that you get. You sort of get something, but you don't know if that is all of it. You're still waiting for the full returns to come, and they will come through a process of going back and forth on it over the course of next couple of months, where you would be required to embellish that opportunity with your own personal color and then create more of it, create more gains out of that. But Jupiter requires you to be structured, especially in Capricorn. It requires you to go structure. So there is maybe a structural shift or addition that you need to do to it. But this looks very financial in nature because it's your eighth house of resources. It can be personal as well. And why I say that apart from this is because Venus is in your sign. Venus is about relationships, and Venus is going retrograde. Some topic of relationships will definitely come into focus over the course of next 1 month, which is from 13th of May to 25th of June. You will have certain matters related to your personal relationship definitely come up for review, whether you speak up what you want in your personal relationships or not. This will also play out in your professional relationships in the sense to strengthen how you express yourself, to ask for what you truly want in your relationships. Sometimes we are not asking for what we want. And Venus over here, as I mentioned in the Venus retrograde video, Venus over here has one objective: to give you what you truly want. And it comes to go retrograde once in 8 years in your sign. So this time you sort of, maybe that's the part that is missing, that you're not getting the due returns from what you're working on, or the returns that you're getting, they're not enough, so you need more. And for that you might need to go back and forth for the next couple of months to do that. Let's talk about Saturn here. So Saturn is now in your house of education, for publication, written material, higher knowledge for the next 2.5 years. When typically that happens, it's the cycle of growth in which we learn new things. It happens once in 28.5 years, and that is a complete refresh of our expertise. It's like when you graduate from a university and what specialization you are getting into, that specialization is done when Saturn is in our ninth house. So it's like for the next 2.5 years, and this aspect started from March, it's like we have to work hard on a higher knowledge, on acquiring a knowledge that we did not have before. It's sort of a blank mind that we're going into, because this is after like 28 years that we are going into some serious education. So this is like you've moved from, and last 2.5 years Saturn was in your house of detox. So it's possible that you've taken a U-turn in your career. You've completely shifted what you wanted to do. You've weeded out the old knowledge and now you want to learn something different. So in order to do that, moving away from it, now you start working hard on expanding your life with the right structured boundaries. You want to expand your career in a direction that is different from before. So you start learning through interacting with people. This is a house in which we learn from people who have been experienced in this field. This is not junior knowledge. This is senior school. So, where you learn more from knowing how people practically are doing things. So Saturn over here essentially wants you to interact with people, mentors, find people who have been experienced in that field and tap their brain for it, because you sort of will learn much more. This is on the job training. This is not so much that I've left my, you can take a sabbatical as well when this happens. But the sabbatical has to be on some practical knowledge, something, which is higher. It cannot be a general thing for which you're taking a sabbatical. This has to be a specialized, practical, on the job training kind of a thing. You might need to interact with people who are completely different from you, who have education completely different from you, who have cultural differences from you, and you learn to sort of imbibe knowledge from them despite difference in opinion from them, despite having a different way of viewing the world. You might be coming from a completely different background as compared to the people from whom you need to learn things. So Saturn over here teaches us to interact with people who have completely different viewpoint from you, who educate you, who enrich you. By you staying open in your ideology, ready to learn, this is the time when we have to be a student of life. You need solid foundation of education from other people. So we learn to ask for it. This is the time when you need solid legal base as well. When Saturn is here, it's best not to get involved in a legal litigation with anyone. I mean, there's never a good time to get sued or to sue anyone, but what happens is that if there's a legal thing that it initiates issue, that initiates, it is long lasting. During this time, and also Saturn makes things harder over here. So if your moral code and your legal code needs to be stronger. So for example, if you have your own business or you sort of are going to publish something, you got to be careful about the disclaimers, the legal bias in it. You got to have the right moral base in acknowledging the people that you are quoting over there and stuff like that. So your principles, your philosophy, your ethics, they have to, we sort of are creating new structure of it, learning that as well, along with learning a new set of knowledge. It could be actual legal system, laws that you might be learning. You maybe need to understand the laws of the new business that you're learning over here. You have to look beyond your limited understanding that you had before. You sort of are opening yourself up to a much wider world, opportunities that are much wider, and this is a longer term transit. It's next 2.5 years. And it has just started. In March is when Saturn has just entered this house, and it's going to stay there till 1st of July. Just to give you a taste of that, this is more going to play out the next 2.5 years. Saturn will fully enter this house in December for you. So December till I believe 2023 is when Saturn is here, and that's the time sort of, when you'll be really working on it. You are right now only creating foundations of that. So the transit is actually from December 17th to 7th of March 2023. This 21st of March to 1st of July is just a preview of that. There's just an initiation of that, and you're going to see that play out in your work, because you're going to be, after this whole behind the scene thing is over, in fact from 13th of May itself, you'll find yourself wanting to do things in front of people. Mars will move into your house of career. You'll be working on your job, on your work. There could be a project that you might be working on. All of that will play a role in it. You'll have to learn quickly on the job about what you're going to be sort of presenting yourself as an expert of, for example. It will provide you discipline to learn what's outside your comfort zone. It will help you compare your perspective with others objectively, people who have a perspective different. This is a key learning curve here. Apart from the thorough knowledge, this is higher mind. We learn to be okay to have a difference of opinion with the other person, but yet do business with them. So it's a mark of a teacher, it's a mark of a matured person, it's a mark of a person who knows how to bring people together who have different opinions. And once Sun moves into your sign on 20th of May onwards, you see that all of this will physically start panning out as well. So what is Saturn square Uranus that I hinted on at the start of the video? What is the preview of 2021 beyond this that you're going to experience? Saturn is going to, over here in this house of education, is going to be squared by Uranus. Uranus is evoking everything that is below the surface. It's evoking fears, it's evoking ideas that are completely futuristic, it's evoking a sense of intuition. It's like, you don't know why you know what you know, but you have an insight about what's about to come and you want to execute that. But it is also, it's like it's like opening a Pandora's box. So everything comes out of it, the good and the bad. When Uranus enters your house of hidden things, everything comes out. So there's a fear of unknown that Uranus is also waking up in you. and it will help you detach from it as well by you facing it, by you purging it. But that blocks our ability to take a leap of faith, for example. So there is an inherent conflict between trying to expand and the fear of unknown, which you will face. This is a psychological issue. It's a test of faith, but it can be materially resolved by acquiring knowledge, by learning a lot more. Saturn is the dominant factor here, working hard on expanding your mind, working hard on a faith practice. And I'll say something which can be controversial to some extent, but if you are a person of religion, having strict religious practices imbibed with faith can help you at this point in time. I leave it to you. What is your faith? What is your religion? What do you want to pursue? But this is a time when you're walking on the clouds. Neptune is in your house of career. Your old concept of your career is being dissolved. It can feel very unnerving. So you're given a very high idealistic goal. You're given this aspiration to do something larger than life. But without having a religious practice or a psychological practice or a faith practice, you will face this conflict and it will build up very strongly in 2021. This is an aspect that becomes exact on 14th of February 2021, and it will stay there throughout 2021. This is a test of your faith. This is deeper philosophical understanding of life, which happens through you facing your own demons. We develop deep faith, whichever way you want to do it, and having that deep faith helps you release the fears. It gives you meaning. It gives your life a meaning, and just by having sort of an eye on the prize helps you get there. If you don't want to have a religious practice, sometimes I don't know if you practice yoga, but sometimes in yoga, at the start of yoga, the practitioner normally tells you to dedicate your practice to somebody, which is sort of becomes the purpose of that practice. So before you take that step towards doing something big, create a purpose for it. Who do you dedicate this bold step that you're taking to? Who do you dedicate it to? You and that person, that objective, that higher goal becomes sort of your anchor through this time. There'll be a lot of research that you'll do, a lot of insights that you'll acquire, but it requires you to have quiet time. So another way of this conflict to play out is that you're not getting the quiet time that you need to acquire this new knowledge. You need to be a student, and there's a lot of sort of interference in your quiet time. On a mundane level, it can play out like that. I don't have any advice on that. I'll leave that to your personal situation to figure that out. But this is clearly that can play out. So maybe you need to have like a place of education. You need to have a separate place of isolation or quiet where you can learn things. Where if you need to publish something or to be sort of be looked at as expert of something, maybe you need that. There could be a meditation practice that you need to have. This is sort of this conflict always evokes a feeling within us. It's publish or perish. My teacher used to say, this is Robert, who I follow, he used to say, this is publish or perish. You either get your views out or you feel dead inside, if I may say that. Like, you feel that if you don't say what you came here to say, you might as well not exist. So you'll feel this innate feeling within yourself that if you don't do what you're here to do, you might as well not exist. And you have to find your place in the universe. You have to find a purpose of it all. It doesn't have to be all about your physical and material manifestation. It has to be something bigger than that you're trying to do. Sometimes what happens with this conflict is that we actually are not aware of our fears. It's a fabulous thing to be place to be in, and they suddenly catch up with us. And how they suddenly catch up with us is that we are about to publish something, we're about to write something, and you don't know why you're facing writer's block. You don't know why you're facing idea block, why this is happening. This happens if we have not given ourselves time to be with us, to know our fears, to know that this is coming from within us. When we don't accept that what we are doing is ahead of time, and that's fine. That's fine as long as you're aware that, you're doing something big, you're doing something which is original, which is inventive, you're dealing with something that is bigger than life, or bigger than what you have done before. And that fear suddenly, out of nowhere, like a boogeyman, it just strikes you at that time. And this is something why I am insisting to some extent that you need to have this, I don't know, 15 minutes in the morning to be with yourself, to deal with this, to purge this out before you become the guru, before you become the teacher, before you become that person who's telling others what they know as their higher knowledge. This religious belief or psychological practice, it will stay on surface if you don't have sort of faith on it working as well. So it's like some people acupuncture works on, some it does not. Although acupuncture is not a faith practice, but alternative healing does not work if you're not putting your faith into it. I hope I have not gone off the tangent. I know Geminis like to have concrete ideas. I hope I've given you some of them. I have my Venus in Gemini, and I love Geminis. As most of my good friends, they have Gemini, or they have some elements of Gemini in them. I think I feel you in this time. I feel you in this time, and I think this is something that you'll need at this time. And this 9th and 10th of May, as well as the cosmic smile between 15th to 17th of May, this is a time when you can actually create something which is stable for you. It could even be a psychological practice or a healing practice that helps you through this period where you'll be very visible. Next 2.5 years, you'll have eclipses in your sign. You'll be very, very visible. Your career, your positioning will undergo fated changes in that period. So why I keep saying cosmic smile is because we'll have Venus and Moon and Jupiter aligned with each other, with Moon forming the crescent, and it will look like a cosmic smile in the sky on 16th of May. So observe that and have fun, and I'll see you in your season now. Thanks, Gemini.